Thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
To this Thursday edition of the Brian Snow Show. Happy to have you guys with us wherever you are watching and or listening. And I am so excited for the guest that I have for you guys today. She's been on the morning show before, but she is with me this afternoon. And the only thing I can say is help me welcome the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price, and she joins me
Good afternoon.
right now. How are you, my dear? Great to have you.
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to have you back
Awesome.
on the program with me. And let's dive right in. Let's start with the NBA, and we're going right to the Western Conference. You know about the big trade that the Suns made to get Kevin Durant, but
Right.
in the pregame workout, he twists his ankle. And now he's a scratch. What is going on with that situation in Phoenix, Arizona?
Well, this is tough. I do anticipate them still being able to get the job done without Kevin Durant, which they did last night. They blew out the OKC. But if you saw the picture of it, so imagine this is his ankle and it's all the way touching the ground like this. Like it looks so gross.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the dude. I think anywhere he goes, he's a huge impact. Obviously, like his first game, he had like 26 points, I believe. So everywhere he goes, he's a huge impact. He played one game as a Sun and then was supposed to make his debut. Sorry, that's my dog in the background. He was supposed to make his debut at, there in OKC as a Sun as well. And we were really looking forward to this. And it seems that Phoenix did this move as an answer to what the Nuggets have going on. I think everybody in the West is just sitting there looking at the Nuggets like, how are we going to beat them? And this was their answer for that. And it was a very good answer. Like, I didn't even anticipate Kevin Durant to be moved at the trade deadline. Like, it was just such a shocking move. Everybody reacted because it happened in the middle of the night. It happened shortly after midnight. So, like, everybody was reacting in the morning like, oh, I went to sleep and I wake up and Kevin Durant plays for the Phoenix Suns now, and he's been injured for a while. We didn't see him play for Brooklyn for at least 6-8 weeks, I believe. So we hadn't seen him play in a while, and then for him to be in the news like that, it was a major shock. So I do anticipate, because we're seeing a couple of other teams that are going through drama too. Memphis is going to be without Ja for at least 4 more games. Now Colorado, they closed their investigation, so there's not going to be anything legal that happens, but we still have to wait and see what happens, what the NBA decides to do. And the Clippers, they're kind of on the decline too. So I think everybody was just kind of looking at, like, what are we going to do as an answer to Denver? And I mean, obviously KD is a great answer to that, but nobody could have anticipated this injury.
Let's stay in Los Angeles. They pick up Russell Westbrook, but has that been the problem solver for the Clippers to get them over the hump? What will take the Clippers back to the Western Conference Finals?
Sadly, it doesn't look like, and on paper, it looked like Westbrook was going to be the answer for this. Now, before the trade deadline, we heard that, Kawhi had 2 PGs in mind. He had Kyle Lowry and then Fred VanVleet that he had in mind. And it just ended up not being able to happen with either one of those. And so it did seem like Westbrook was your next best answer, somebody that is averaging a triple-double off the bench. There's nobody else in the league doing that. So,
Right.
knowing your role and still being able to put up big numbers, like on paper, it seems like that would be the right fit for them. And I really thought he was going to do well over there, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But I also feel like, and Russ is putting up good numbers, so I don't know that I necessarily blame Russ. I think a lot of people are ready to do that, but I particularly, I'm not. When I look at the numbers, and I know I'm a little biased sometimes because I'm not a big Kawhi fan anymore. I'm a San Antonio fan, and so there's a little animosity there, but logically, looking at things and unbiasedly looking at it, somebody of his caliber, he's not the best player on his team right now. PG is the best player on that team. And you're paying Kawhi to be the best player on that team. And so even on every third game when he plays, he's still the second option. Like, I don't think that's what they anticipated whenever they got Kawhi.
It's not what they anticipated when they signed Kawhi after the 2019 season, after Kawhi took the Toronto Raptors to the World Championship. Let's stay with Kawhi for a moment. I thought Kawhi would be in Toronto for a while after his exile from San Antonio, and I understand.
Oh, I knew that wasn't the case.
Really?
He made it very clear that he wanted to go home. He wanted to go to California, and that's why Pop sent him to Toronto. On the opposite side of things, because I felt like it was a petty move, but also we wanted DeMar. Like, we traded for DeMar. That's who we wanted. In return for Kawhi, and I have no animosity towards DeMar either. But I can't imagine, because at the beginning of the season, Kawhi talked about how he was really happy with the franchise that he's with now, and how the medical staff is dealing with what he has going on. He says he has a degenerative muscle disease. And so if that's true, and that's awful, I don't think that the Clippers would have anticipated it being like this. Like, we signed you to be the number one option, and while you put up 20 to 25 points, that's not the number one option. Like, they're paying you to be the best. Like, when they signed you, you were arguably maybe at the 2 or the 3 best player in the world. And that's not what you're giving them right now.
Hawk TV joins us from Atlanta in the comment section. Going west has not helped Kawhi. No, it hasn't, because he hasn't even played a full season since he's been with the Clippers. If he's played half a season, that's lucky for them. So what do the Clippers do going forward, knowing they're locked into both PG and Kawhi Leonard?
I think you stick with PG. PG hasn't done anything over there to make you feel like he's not the person that you want to build around. And in reality, he was supposed to be your number 2, and he stepped up and been that number 1. And so now we did see them all earlier this week standing in front of their stadium. It's almost time for them to have their arena. And that's great. Get them up out of the Lakers and have that separation so that they don't feel like they're little brother and over there in LA, even though, until you get some championships, you are. And in comparison to the Lakers, you got a lot to bring to the table when it comes to championships. But you got to get that first one out of the way first. Like you got to get some jerseys, you got to get something up in the rafters, and you don't have anything yet.
Down to Texas we go. Kyrie Irving is now a Dallas Maverick. He's teaming with Luka, and so far, am I reading this wrong? So far, no good for Dallas, but the problem has been with the Mavericks in crunch time. Right. They don't play defense. And in a recent game against the Lakers, it showed when they choked a 27-point lead away, and they wound up losing that game by 3. Talk to me about the issues in Dallas.
And then they also lost that game with the Suns. And that was until the very last second. It was like a 2 or 3 point loss, or maybe just a 1 point loss. I think that they are finally starting to figure out how it was supposed to go. They had Luka and then Kyrie, and either one of those could be your number 1 option at night, whoever was hot. And the other one is still going to play number 2 correctly. And then they had Hardaway Jr. that seemed like he was kind of starting to gel with the two of them, because that was my question. You got Kyrie and Tim Hardaway who play the same position. But, I mean, you got Jason Kidd at the head of things. Maybe he can figure that rotation out. And it started last game, started looking like they were figuring it out. And then Luka hurt himself last night.
Megan Price joining us here on the program, and we're talking all sorts of basketball with the Queen of Hoop. We'll pause for a break, and when we come back, we'll stay in the Western Conference. Can the champs figure it out, or do we get a new champion this year? More Western Conference NBA talk with the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price, after this. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Brian Snow here. I want to invite you all to listen to the show where sports is the base and life and fun are the results. It's the Brian Snow Show, weeknights at 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Moving is a big decision. Selling or buying a home in any market, but especially today's, can raise a lot of questions. Hi, I'm Amy with Killingsworth Realty. My husband Todd and I serve the Coweta and local area. Our purpose at our first meeting is to learn your goals, answer questions, and provide resources so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. Find us online at killingsworthrealty.com or call 678-525-0047 to schedule a free consultation today to discuss your real estate needs. You don't have to do this alone.
Active Pest Control offers the best services and prices to protect your home, offering both monthly and quarterly pest control services, plus specific services like bed bug, German roach, and flea control. Even if you can't see them, insects are all around you 24/7. Active Pest Control wants to be the first line of defense. Active Pest Control, repair, bond, best termite coverage around. Active Pest Control, 34 Jefferson Street, Newton, 770-954-9941.
The original Think Drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus, smarter than
So, this thing called sports, it has fans again. It has full stadiums, full arenas, and more. And you want to be a part of it, don't you? Of course you do. If you begin to scour the resale market, there will be tickets available. And what you need to get those tickets that you want so badly is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the app available to you that lends a hand in helping you get the tickets that you want for the events that you want. SeatGeek rates the tickets on a 1 to 10 scale, and the best part is the tickets are vetted for authenticity, so you know what you are getting and you know you are not getting scammed. And now you can save even more by using the code SNOWMAN and getting $20 off with your very first purchase. Yes, you can do all of that with the power of SeatGeek, helping you get to the games that you want, so you fans can fan. So let's all fan. Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Welcome back to the latest and greatest edition of the Brian Snow Show. Happy to have you guys with us, and a special shout to those of you listening on WQEE 99.1 FM. The heartbeat of Atlanta. Megan Price, the Queen of Hoop, joins me, and we'll talk Hawks a little bit later. But right now, let's go to San Francisco. I've always believed this, but somehow the Warriors are proving me wrong. To be the champs, you must unseat the champs. They've lost their last two. It just seems to me, I want to stay on this feeling, but it just seemed to me until the last two games, the loss in Los Angeles and the loss in Oklahoma City, Golden State has finally turned the corner and have gotten their act together.
I mean, they have a tough time on the road. That's what they've shown this season.
Yeah.
Like, they can win any game at home, but on the road they can also lose any game. They could lose to San Antonio right now. And it's rough in San Antonio.
True.
So they're gonna have to figure that out, but I still feel like fully healthy, and that's where they're sitting at right now. Fully healthy, that they're an extremely dangerous team, not somebody you want to see the first round of the playoffs. And as set right now, they would face the Suns. They are 3 games behind the Suns. They sit at number 5. Suns sit at number 4. They're 34 and 32. Well, the Clippers have almost the same record. And then all the way down to the number 13 seed, there's only 3.5 games that separate all those seats. So, 7 teams right there could possibly make it up as high to the 5 seeds. So anything can happen, but we've only got 17 to 20 games left. So we're in the home stretch of the season. And while I do think the Clippers are on the decline, I'm still kind of questioning if it's like time to push the panic button on the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm questioning that. Also, the last 2 games are not games that are indicative of what the Warriors can be, especially on the road. And the road has been their bugaboo this year. They've only won a total of 7 road games, and that has killed them this year. Let's stay in Northern California. How about those Sacramento Kings out of nowhere?
No, not out of nowhere. I think if you were paying attention last season, you knew that this was all they needed to do. One, they had to make that trade because they had 2 guards. They had Halliburton and they had De'Aaron Fox, and they were sharing minutes, but they were both the caliber of what they have now. Like, I mean, definitely number ones, both of them, number 1 options. And so, and then once they were able to figure that out, like, hey, I can't give the same amount of minutes to both these guys. Somebody's got to be the guy. Once they figured that out, and then they had to get rid of Gentry. They had to get a coach in there, somebody that was not almost 80 years old. And just the game is outdated compared to what he likes to coach. We saw it over there in New Orleans. It was an issue. And then when he came over to Sacramento, it was an issue. So I knew once they let Gentry go and then chose Mike Brown, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. But also a part of that trade, when they moved Halliburton over to Indiana, they picked up Sabonis, who's leading the league in rebounds right now. So a massive pickup for them. And even if De'Aaron is out, you still got Harrison Barnes. you still have some other options over there that are huge, and that even if your star goes down, you have other stars to fill in. So I love what Mike Brown is doing over there with the Beam team. Now we heard for quite a while that there were thoughts of moving Sacramento to Las Vegas. I don't think that's happening now. Nobody's talking about that now.
No, not with the way that the Kings are playing, and Mike Brown
Right.
should be the runaway choice for coach of the year, because
Right.
this has been building for a while in Sacramento. And I said a few years ago that the team you're going to have to watch is going to be the Sacramento Kings. It's going to be a renaissance for them. And with Mike Brown in place, that renaissance is there. And the big thing that has helped Sacramento, they're playing defense, which is Mike Brown's specialty.
Right. And Gentry wasn't having them play any defense last year. And so while you could see the talent in the pieces that they had, it wasn't executed well. And so, this is where, I say all the time, coaching matters. And this is that a prime example of that, because you can have all the great pieces in the world, and if you don't have that right rotation, if you don't have somebody that's able to light you up at the right moment and know whether you need to go big or whether you need to go small, like, you have to be able to adjust. And we didn't see that with Gentry.
We did not see that. And the Kings are the wildest of the wild cards, sitting near the top of the Western Conference standings. But at the top is the Denver Nuggets, with Nikola Jokic possibly pushing for a third consecutive most valuable player. But the return of Jamal Murray has buoyed them as well.
For sure. You know what I would have liked to have seen, and even though they're sitting at number one, you still have that question mark of what happens when in a rotation when Jokic needs to sit down for a little bit. Last season they had DeMarcus Cousins, who was able to come in. You're not going to get a ton of minutes out of Boogie. You're going to get like 17 to 18 really good minutes out of Boogie. He's gonna play bully ball. He's definitely going to be able to get in there, get some boards, and still be able to score. Why they didn't sign him to a veteran minimum and keep him is beyond me. But come playoffs, he's going to need some time on the bench, just a little bit. Like, he goes hard all throughout the season. He's not injured very much. So it's not a matter of like, oh, he's injured and what are you going to do? Are you going to count on Boogie? That's not what you're looking for here. You need somebody that can give him maybe 2-3 minutes of on the bench, catching his breath, because you're still going to have to go up against teams like, if we're talking finals, you're going to have to go against the Bucks, size, Giannis. Like, yes, you're going to need a little time to be able to adjust.
The biggest flaw for Denver, and I've said this all year, lack of depth. Of depth. And when it comes to the
and then
playoffs,
they traded away their depth. Like, why did they get rid of Bones Highland?
Yeah. And when you're talking playing deep into May, like beyond Memorial Day weekend and into June, with the finals starting on the 1st of June, you need depth. Golden State proved it last year. They weren't the Warriors of old, but their depth carried them to a championship, the same way it carried Boston to the NBA World Championship Series last year. If there is a fatal flaw in Denver, it is their lack of depth, and it's going to really hurt them come playoff time. And we're talking round 2 and beyond.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Stay with the West. If there is a team that can come out of nowhere, and I mean absolutely nowhere, who is that team that could really surprise you and sneak into the playoffs?
I think, it's got to be between the Lakers or the Pelicans.
Agreed.
AD is really putting the team on his back, and I think that's great. I like AD. I am an AD fan. I don't think it's necessarily his fault that he's injury prone.
Yeah.
And I definitely see the desire out of him of, I don't want to lose. I'm wanting to win these games. Forget the records. Like, I'm trying to win games, trying to go to the playoffs. And even in those moments when he can't play, he seems frustrated. Like, man, I want to be on the court. And that's what you want to see out of your star. So if they are able to sneak into the playoffs, they have a chance at keeping him. If not, I see him in Dallas next season.
Yeah. If AD doesn't get to the playoffs, he will be elsewhere. But how different are the Lakers? And, people don't want to bring up this point, but I'm going to talk about it. How different are the Lakers running the ball through AD instead of LeBron. You see the difference.
I mean, obviously we see the difference. Like, they're winning games. Now, I do think LeBron is a difference maker still, even in year 20 at age 38. He's absolutely a difference maker. And we know playoff LeBron is something different than regular season LeBron. So, maybe they'll be able to carry it through to that point. I still think there's a chance that they could get knocked out of the play-in tournament. But I think I like their chances better than I do the Pelicans. The Pelicans look dead in the water.
And to think the Pelicans, once upon a time, led the West. They led the West by a couple of games.
And even last year when they made it to the playoffs and they beat Phoenix those couple of games, it definitely looked like they were on the right road. And then this season, and they played great when they had Zion. And so Zion has had another significant setback. So we're not going to see him the rest of the season.
No, we're not. 3 teams are a game out of the play-in tournament: Oklahoma City, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Utah Jazz. The Jazz have fallen off because they were leading the West for a while. Portland has never really significantly got it together, and I believe they haven't since they separated Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. And then you got the mysterious case of Oklahoma City, who gets up for the best teams, like their win against Golden State, 137-128. But then you see him lose to teams below. You see him lose to teams below them. I mean, it's a very curious case as the race for seeds 7 through 10 can continue. Let's go to the Pacific Northwest. What has happened to the Portland Trail Blazers?
They traded away Josh Hart. That was the one player on their team that played defense, and he's shining over there in New York. You picked up Cam Reddish to kind of be your number 2 option for Dame, I guess, or number 3 option, because they do have Jeremy Grant. So I guess you would want Cam to be your number 3 option. I'm not impressed. 11 points, 16 points. Like I'm just not impressed with Cam Reddish. I'm like Mike Tybalt, no minutes.
None.
That's me. But they don't have. They have Nurkic, who doesn't stay healthy, but he does play little defense. But he's not on the court a whole lot. You traded away Josh Hart, and Josh Hart is a tremendous defensive player. So bad move on their part.
Very bad move, and that explains that demise. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go to the Eastern Conference and break that down. Can anyone stop the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks? Or are all those two destined for a head-to-head match in the Eastern Conference Finals? This is the Brian Snow Show, the NBA edition with the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price. Back in a minute. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Pause for station identification. This is the Brian Snow Show.
WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key. Home of Southern Sports and Talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson paid for by the Sentinel Group. This is an important message for anyone diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers. A California jury recently found Monsanto's weed killer caused a groundkeeper's cancer and issued a verdict for $78 million. More evidence found that Monsanto, the manufacturer of Roundup, may have known that Roundup and other weed killers were likely linked to organ damage and cancer. This information was hidden from the public as proprietary trade secret since 1981, and Monsanto may have failed to adequately warn about the potential risk of cancer. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Sentinel Group now. You'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Don't fight it alone. 1-800-619-8064. 1-800-619-8064. That's 1-800-619-8064. 1-800-619-8064.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you been considering a career in real estate? At Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners, we prepare you to excel in your real estate career by providing award-winning training, family-based culture, and lead generation tools to build a business that lasts. If you're interested in learning about our pre-licensed school or how to get started, call 678-634-9770 or visit our website, atlantapartnersrealestateschool.com today.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Thursday edition of the Brian Snow Show continues, and it continues with the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price, who joins us today. We broke down the West. Now it's time to break down the East, and I got to tell you something. The Knicks have made a liar out of me. They are really, really competing for one of the top 4 spots in the Eastern Conference. How about those Knicks?
I'm in love with what they have going on, but I'm a huge fan of defense. So anywhere Mike Thibault is, I'm going to be a fan. I liked him in Chicago. I do want to see Derrick Rose a little bit more, but I also believe in what Tibb is doing. So, if he thinks it's the right thing, not always having Derrick out there, then I guess it's the right thing. But, we always love to see Derrick Rose out there. So.
Yes.
But it does seem that he finally got Julius Randle to buy in. But by doing that, he had to take Julius Randle from being the number 1 option. Like he's your number 2 option, and that's at best. And not a bad place to be because you're still a star. You're just not quite that superstar. But they went ahead and got Jalen Brunson this offseason, and that was a huge difference maker for them because – like I said, if you don't play defense, you don't play on this team. So he's your superstar. He's a two-way player. He's going to sit up there and put 41, 45 points up on you. And he's going to play defense, and he's going to have steals, and he's going to get boards. Like, dude is just all over the place.
Top 4 in the East go Milwaukee, Boston, Philadelphia, Cleveland, New York, sitting at the 5 spot, 2.5 games away from Cleveland. They're 11 games above 500. Then Brooklyn behind them for the top 6 guaranteed spots in the East. 7 through 10 go Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, and Washington. And for all the folks on QEE, let's go to Atlanta. How much turmoil is going on in Atlanta, and how much of it is the cause of Trae Young?
A lot of it, but I also believe it is you went and got DeJounte Murray from San Antonio, and you literally went and got a high-powered guard when you have a high-powered guard. Now they're different. DeJounte's going to play defense. You don't lead the league in steals at one point by not playing defense. You don't play for Pop not playing defense unless you play this season.
Right.
But so I just, whenever they picked him up, it was so confusing to me. Like, there's only one ball, and that's kind of how I felt when Westbrook went to LA. I was like, there's one ball. How is this going to work? And it hasn't worked well. And I think a lot of that has to do with Trey. Like, even with McMillan gone, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. DeJounte was the wrong pickup.
And getting rid of Nate McMillan wasn't the right move either, because
I happen to agree with that. Like, when Indiana moved on from Nate, I definitely thought, I was like, man, it didn't seem like Nate was the problem over there.
Right.
And then when Atlanta picked him up, he took him to the playoffs. But also, you know, I want to preface that by saying that he did take them to the playoffs, but they also had like 4 people that were injured that got healthy right at that exact same time as well.
Right.
John Collins hadn't been playing. Capella hadn't been playing. Gallinari hadn't been playing, which Gallinari's not there anymore. But and I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. But you know, they had like 4 players that came back and were healthy right at the same time that they picked up Nate McMillan also. So it was kind of like, was it the right move? Was it not? And I don't know coaching style if it was the right move to move on from him, because I think Trey still wants out of there.
Mm-hmm. Trey wants out of there. He's made that clear since 2021, when, for all intents and purposes, did a disappearing act in the Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee, because Milwaukee shut him down. He was allowed to be free in the first 2 rounds, but got to the East Finals and went up against a defensive-minded team in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee shut him down. Since then, he's wanted out.
He did show out against the Knicks. I will say that. Like, he showed up in that round against the Knicks. And that was such a great series. But I think that spoke more to the fact that the Knicks just didn't have that superstar caliber. Like, you know, they needed that number 1 option, and Julius Randle just kind of disappeared in that series. So, you know, I hate that for them, but also I think we knew that this is who Trey was, even from his OU days. You know, like he's always been somebody difficult to get along with. Do I think he backs it up? Yes, he is a superstar. So it's not that I'm going to sit there and say he's difficult to deal with and he doesn't back it up, because he absolutely does. But you're not going to get defense out of him.
No, and that was true in his Oklahoma days. That was true then, and it's true now. So should they move on from Trey, who comes to Atlanta?
It depends on what his contract is. Like, if I don't know, when did he get his extension? I'm not sure on the details on that, so I don't want to misspeak. But you definitely want to trade him while you can still get something for him, because he obviously wants out. So if you let him make it to if you let him make it to free agency status, he's out, and you get nothing in return.
Exactly.
But I don't know how far away that is. I think he signed an extension 2 years ago, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. He wants out, and he's showing he wants out by his play on the floor and by his attitude. And again, go back to Nate McMillan. That was a mistake on the part of the Atlanta Hawks. Nate McMillan was not.
It might have been, yeah, it might have been, because the problem is still continuing.
It is. Mickey Delaney joins us from the Pacific Northwest, saying hi both to Megan and myself. Hello to you, Mickey. And let's stay in the East. Look at the dividends that Donovan Mitchell has paid off for Cleveland.
You remember when people were saying that Donovan Mitchell couldn't be a number 1 option?
Yeah.
That is laughable. Completely laughable.
All the way
I have loved him since his college days. Don't blame him for wanting to get out of Utah. Utah is a very tough place for anybody that's African American. And then just how the franchise is run. It's tough. So you know, I don't blame him for wanting to get out. What a great, I don't know if I want to say it as a Cinderella story, but it's like they built it the right way, in my opinion. They drafted most of these players, but then they got Jared Allen, which that's a big question mark right there. Like, he had a huge year last year, and then he's basically disappeared this year. So what is going on with Jared Allen is my only question with the Cavs. But, you know, they have Evan Mobley, who's been able to step up. And when Jared Allen isn't playing well, you got Evan Mobley having great games. So,
Mhm.
you know, they at least they have that depth, but you know, and then they went and traded for Donovan Mitchell. Like that was huge. Everyone was like, oh, he's not worth 5 first-round picks.
Yes,
He
he
scored
is.
71 point. He scored 71 points in one game this year. He's
Mhm.
worth every bit of that. He is should have been your rookie of the year instead of Ben Simmons. I've been a huge fan of Spider ever since the beginning. So good for
Thank
him.
you for
And
thank you for saying that about Donovan Mitchell. Should have been
for
rookie of the
sure,
year. Because I
he
agree with
should have been.
that. He should have been a runaway rookie of the year instead of Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons wasn't a rookie.
No,
I realized he was hurt his rookie year, but he wasn't a rookie. That doesn't matter.
that's technically his second season.
Right, exactly. So I really disagree with Ben Simmons being rookie of the year that year, and
Mhm.
I definitely did at the time. But I do think, like, you know, what they have done, what the Cavaliers have done, I love to see it because we haven't seen them do anything since Kyrie left. You
Right.
know, I mean, and really it was LeBron who left him in the lurch,
Mhm.
and then Kyrie was on his way. So I'm just glad to see them do it, and I felt like they did it the right way. It's not like you're going to sit there and say, "Hey, they blew up the roster, they paid everything, they have nothing to keep everybody around,
Right.
and then they don't have anything to show for it," which is kind of what the Lakers have going on.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a huge problem going forward, especially
Right.
with free agency and cap money, and cap hell is going to hit the Lakers. We're in the Eastern
Right.
Conference with the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price. Let's go back to Atlanta briefly. I wanted to touch on this. I didn't think about it until I looked at my notes. Quinn Snyder signed a 5-year deal to coach
Oh, that's right.
Atlanta. Quinn Snyder signed a 5-year deal. Does that help them immediately, or is it a long run kind of thing with Quinn Snyder, or a combination of both?
I think it is a long run type of thing. I don't think that there's a whole lot that can help Atlanta this season. Like I said, you got 17 to 20 games left. Atlanta is sitting at 66 games, so you know they have 16 games left. That's not a whole lot to work with right there. And I could
Right.
see, you know, going into the play-in tournament right now, they would play. Okay, so the 7 and the 8 seed play each other. So they would have to play Miami. I could see Miami knocking them out easily.
Yeah, I could see that too. It's
You
more
know?
of a long run kind of deal with Quinn Snyder.
And then
'cause he signed a 5-year.
even then, if they end up playing the Raptors, I could see the Raptors knocking them out.
Yeah, and the Raptors are hanging on for dear life also. Queen of Hoop,
Right.
Megan Price joining me as we talk all things Eastern Conference. Man, I don't get what's going on, and I got to go to my hometown Bulls briefly because the word has come down that Lonzo Ball may need a 3rd surgery on his knee.
Right.
And I am so disappointed with everything that's going on with Lonzo because when he went down, in essence, so did the Bulls.
For sure. Well, you know, the thing about Lonzo is he really, and we've heard a lot of people say that, like, is this a ball thing? Because Melo has a lot of injury issues too. Whereas Lonzo has been healthy for, you know, he was habitually healthy.
Mhm.
And Melo has had some very significant injuries over the entirety of his career.
Right.
So I'm not too surprised by LaMelo being kind of injury prone. This one is more surprising, but it's looking like it's nerve damage.
Yeah.
So, but also at that, I don't think they have the right coach. I'm not a Billy Donovan believer. I didn't like him in OKC, and even without your point guard, which he's a true point, so you're not going to see him put up the most points. He's going to, you know, have anywhere from like 12 to 16 points, but he's going to have the same amount of assists. Like that's
Right.
the type of leader he is.
Right.
And as long as you know how to work with a true point guard, he's very important. But you still have DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, Zach LaVine, and which they weren't all healthy at the same time. So that is an issue too. But
Right.
you're going to tell me you have all 3 of those and you're this bad off still? That's coaching.
That is coaching, and it's time for Billy Donovan to go. Will Vogel joins us. Says hi, Brian and Megan. What's up, Will?
Hey,
Good to
Will.
have you. Good to have you with us. He also says Billy Donovan should have stayed in college coaching.
Mhm.
That I agree with.
Agree.
One successful
absolutely
season with
agree,
the
Will.
Bulls does not make him a good NBA coach, and it was more the players that was.
I was about to
surrounding
say
Billy
that.
Donovan.
that season, DeMar and Zach LaVine had almost identical stats, and they were ridiculous. So to me, that was just them going off, not Billy Donovan's coaching.
Yeah, I believe that, and I hate seeing this since 2011 and Derrick Rose's MVP year. I mean, yeah, they were the top seed in 2012, but what have they done since then? Rose is gone, Noah is gone, Tibbs is gone, and I want to say the breakdown started in 2016. You know, when they were third in the Eastern Conference for a while, and then they just fell off. And until last year, when they got to the playoffs and had to face a hard-charging Milwaukee team, nothing has come of the Bulls. Speaking of Milwaukee, we will get to them as we come down the stretch and talk Milwaukee and Boston. Are they headed for an Eastern Conference Finals clash, or will Philadelphia have something to say about that? The final stretch of the Brian Snow Show after this.
WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, home of Southern Sports and Talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
So this thing called sports, it has fans again. It has full stadiums, full arenas, and more. And you want to be a part of it, don't you? Of course you do. If you begin to scour the resale market, there will be tickets available. And what you need to get those tickets that you want so badly is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the app available to you that lends a hand in helping you get the tickets that you want for the events that you want. SeatGeek rates the tickets on a 1 to 10 scale, and the best part is the tickets are vetted for authenticity, so you know what you are getting and you know you are not getting scammed. And now you can save even more by using the code SNOWMAN and getting $20 off with your very first purchase. Yes, you can do all of that with the power of SeatGeek, helping you get to the games that you want, so you fans can fan. So let's all fan.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
For a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is The Brian Snow Show.
Brian Snow Show continues as we get ready to wrap things up here on this Thursday edition. I want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon, as I'm joined by the lovely queen of hoop, Megan Price. All things NBA today, all things basketball today. I got to have you back because the WNBA season is right around the corner, and I'd love to team up with you and break that season down and have some fun coverage of the WNBA. We are going to do that. And to Will, I will definitely have you on a weekend version. Speaking of which, the premiere version of the weekend, the premiere edition of the Saturday Brian Snow Show will be this Saturday, 2 p.m. as I welcome Annie Del Rey from San Diego to talk all things health and wellness and mental health coaching. She has a funny book that she talks about as well. That's all Saturday at 2 p.m. Let's wrap things up here, and I'm going to let's put it out there. We talked about the West. Let's put it out for the East. Are Milwaukee and Boston heading for a basically Memorial Day collision course in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I'm not sure if it works out that way. It just depends on the seeding. We might actually see that in round 3 before we actually see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think the Sixers are still right there. Now I realize they are 4 games behind the Bucks and 2 games behind the Celtics, but kind of looks like the Celtics are losing a little steam. They've had some really close losses out of the last 4 games or so. So, but they've had several overtime games too. So, and some games you wouldn't necessarily expect to go to overtime. Sunday night, if you caught that game, it was a double overtime game with New York. Awesome game. So good. And then they turned around and had another overtime game the very next night. Sixers seem to be getting right at the right time.
Yeah.
You see James Harden, even when he has nights where he doesn't score a ton. And when I say a ton, I mean like under 20, because we're so used to him scoring above 30 points.
Right.
He's your guy that has the most 30 plus point game performances. Like he's far and above everybody. But he has seemed to figure it out there at the number 1 position. Like if you gotta have 14 points, that's cool. He had 28 assists one game. Like, you know, he is figuring out that position. And then you have Thibault over there. You have Tyrese Maxey, and you have you have Tobias Harris. You have some pieces that are coming off the bench that are really good. And Embiid is going to be Embiid. Like you know exactly what you get when it comes to him. Is he going to be healthy come playoff time? That is the question mark. And is Doc Rivers your guy to get you through and make it to the finals?
Yeah. All those are very, very, very valid questions. And you brought up a point. You know what you're going to get with Embiid. So true. I've said something about Embiid that like only you and a few others get. It's here. It's between the ears where he hasn't figured it out fully yet. And I am inserting the word fully. Physically, he's a specimen. He's a monster. You know what you're going to get with him physically. We saw it 2 years ago. We saw it last year. You don't know what you're going to get with Embiid between the ears. If he figures that out, then Philadelphia can go a long, long way. If he figures out, I have to put this team on my back. I have to be the main dog. The offense must go through me. He has to, and Cole Johnson makes this reference all the time. Embiid has to tell James Harden what Akeem Olajuwon told Sam Cassell. You see this ball? Give it to me. Run the offense through me. And you brought up another valid point. Can Doc Rivers figure out, because he's had offenses where he's had big men that can ride all the way to the championship. It only happened once with him in Boston, and they rode it through Kevin Garnett, even though Paul Pierce was the finals MVP. They rode the ball through Kevin Garnett. But Embiid must, just like the Lakers with Anthony Davis, as Anthony Davis is to the Lakers, Joel Embiid must be to Philadelphia.
Well, you know, what I feel about Doc Rivers is what we saw when he did get his championship, because he had that team together for a while. He had that core together for a while. And while they made it to one other finals, they didn't win. Like really that core, you couldn't get it done more than once. And it just makes you wonder, like, because we're talking prime time Rondo. Rondo was something else around that time in his career. Like he was one of the best guards in the league. And then you had Paul Pierce, who was kind of on his end of days, but still had some go. Kevin Garnett was still ridiculous. And then you had Ray Allen, one of the top 3 shooters of all time.
Yes.
Like he was in his prime as well. So was it really Doc Rivers doing a good job coaching, or was them winning that championship in spite of him?
Will Vogel says, I want to see Tobias Harris, James Harden, and Maxey help in the playoffs, even though Harden has had playoff struggles. That's another thing that's between the ears for Harden.
That's true,
he
too.
Struggles in the, he
That's
struggles
true,
in the
too.
playoffs. Because if you look at his time in Houston, 4 shots at Golden State. 2 of them you lost on your home floor. That's 2018 and 2019. Is that going to play with him? Is that going to play within him, I beg your pardon, as well for the Sixers going forward?
Well, I feel like his best chance at winning a championship was when he was with Brooklyn, which I know there was so many outside factors to that situation. But when you had Harden at the 1 and you had Kyrie at the 2, and then you had KD like that, I mean, I know they only played a certain amount of games together, but that was a beautiful thing. And then even when KD was out, him and Kyrie together was such a good fit. And then, okay, let's say Kyrie was out, but you had KD. Even just those two, it was still such a good fit. Like him at the 1 is the right place for him. Him not having to carrying the shooting load is the right way for him.
It is. It is. And I'll say I've come around to that. But again, I look at more of the look. I got spoiled with MJ and Julius Erving and Magic Johnson and guys that played between the ears as well as between the lines.
Right, yeah.
It's up here. It's between the ears where Harden and Embiid have to figure out, and Harden especially, I gotta send the ball through Embiid. I gotta send the ball in the post for us to eat and for me to eat and for everybody to eat. It's gotta go through Embiid.
Right, for sure. I mean, Embiid's got to be healthy.
Yes, Embiid has got to be healthy. That's the biggest thing. Megan Price, the Queen of Hoop, joins me on this program, and we're going to have a lot of fun, not only covering the NBA through the playoffs, but the WNBA as well. My dear, thank you so much. I can't wait to have you back on to talk women's basketball. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Megan Price, the Queen of Hoop, joins me, and that will be that for this edition of the Brian Snow Show. I want to thank you all for joining me. Tomorrow, got some good stuff for you as we wrap up the week in style. This has been the Brian Snow Show. Thank you all very much. God bless you. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.
Noonan 99 Rock.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Where can you be a star athlete and a math superstar? Where can you prepare for graduate school or your dream job and make friends for the journey? Where can you challenge your mind and inspire your soul? Experience a transforming education at LaGrange College, one of the South's most affordable, highly ranked institutions. Learn more at lagrange.edu.
WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, home of Southern Sports and Talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin. It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.